Hey, listen, everybody, good morning and welcome to what we are going to be calling the Sharper Saw. This is a live online meetup with the purpose of providing forward-looking thoughts and actions that you can control. And that's the key. So looking at the attendees, we have folks who are both in the sales profession and in sales leadership. We'll have some regular business people joining us. So this is going to be a great idea. And we're all here for similar reasons, not just because I invited you. Dr. Stephen Covey, in his groundbreaking book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, lists habits that he saw that made for very productive activities. And we know the big ones, be proactive and think win-win. But even in Dr. Covey's words, he believed that the 7th habit was the most important. That 7th habit is the one that we're going to talk about today, and that's how this event got its name. As Dr. Covey put it, we must never be too busy that we don't take time to sharpen the saw. In other words, we can't be so busy doing the things that we do and we don't stop to get better at what it is that we say we do. The idea of this meetup is that we, on a regular basis, are going to get together and talk about big ideas that we can take back and work on individually. Again, no, I'm not giving you any homework, but we know that we want to do something, but a lot of times we don't know what we want to do. And then the other part is sometimes we know what we want to do, but we don't know how to do it. That's the big concept we're going to work on today, control. Today, we're going to run through 4 quick topics. And when we get to the end, we're going to put it all together so you can have this solid takeaway to get to the rest of your week. So I don't know about you, but in the last week, events were moving so quickly that I thought that I really wasn't in control. There were some moments that my life was just crazy, right? And I think that should sound familiar to some of you as well, right? So I had to remind myself of a lesson that I learned when I was in the financial services industry, and I'm gonna use that to start our meeting today. If you've ever worked in the financial services industry, you know that that's deep water fishing, right? You have to not only convince someone to buy life insurance or to buy a stock or to buy a mutual fund, you have to actually find that customer yourself. So that means a lot of cold calls, a lot of door knocking, a lot of rejection. So just as I was reaching my max level of rejection, my regional director, a guy named Walter K. Booker, he's on LinkedIn, look him up. He's amazing. He's still amazing to this day. He shared this little story. So let's come back. It tells me that there's 3 buckets. Bucket number 1 contains all the things that you control. And bucket number 2 contains all the things that you can influence. And bucket number 3 contains the things you neither control nor influence. When you think about what's happened in the last month or so, let's go back there. There's been an awful lot that's happening, and when you think about it, when you start putting them into those buckets, things start to get, instead of so hazy, they get a little more clear. COVID-19, that's bucket 3. Can't control that, can't influence that. Bills coming due. You know what? That's a bucket 2. I can influence that. Can't really control it, but I can definitely influence what bills are coming. Them closing my place of business. That's bucket 3. Can't control that. My team's attitude and outlook. That's a bucket 2. I can influence it, can't control it. Well, what are some of the things that are in bucket number 1? Bucket number 1, my attitude, my behaviors, my words, right? Those are the things that I control. So the world is in bucket number 2 and 3, And only I am in bucket number one. And the same applies to each of you. Your individual bucket one is the thing that you control. With the understanding that you only control you, let's talk about emotional intelligence. And one of the key concepts in driving emotional intelligence can be summed up with the simple quote: we can't always control what happens, bucket number three, but we can control what our response is. And that's what's in bucket number one. The first component of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. That key component of self-control is being aware of what gets you off your game, recognizing that you are off your game, and ultimately getting yourself back on track. Each of you know yourselves. Each of you know exactly what makes you tick. And you know what you feel like when you are on your game, right? So think about it. What do you need to do to get yourself where you want to be? For some of us, it's exercise. For some of us, it's meditation. You know what makes you at your best. And you are in control of putting yourself in that space and in control of putting your life. So let's think that through. The first concept we talked about is you are in control of you. The second concept is you know what makes you at your best, and how do we do that? You can control your day. Now, the way that you would control your day is more than simply having a calendar. That's the easy part. But you decide how your day is going to proceed and what you will accomplish. For example, you're here. You made a decision yesterday that today, for this half hour, that you were going to be on this call. You made time for the things that you thought were important, and you put yourself in a position to succeed in this day. And I like that second bullet. The active verb in there is make time for you and your goals every day. Notice I didn't say find time. So when you find time, that means that the schedule is more important than your decisions. You don't find the time, you make the time. Remember bucket number one, you control you. Sure, unexpected things will occur. There's no getting around that. But when you're in control of your day and you've made decisions about what's important, you start to prioritize. That's putting things into what's important according to your definition. Second thing is you can shift things around again to make sure that that's a qualified yes. And then you can, when you have set these priorities for yourself and when you set what's important for your day, that actually empowers you to use the word no. Or like I said, you can change the schedule, say I can do it for you tomorrow, but today I need these things to get done. So let's put it all together and bring it home. So while you may at times feel overwhelmed, what that feeling is simply you losing focus. You're focusing on bucket three instead of focusing on bucket one. Sure, give attention to bucket three, be aware of what's in bucket three, but don't give it your attention, don't give it as much of your energy as you do when you feel that you're overwhelmed. Okay. Step back and realize that you are actually in control of your attitude and your behavior. As a side note, you're also in control of your media diet. You're in control of the television. Turn off the news. Put on Gilligan's Island. Something that's simple that we can watch and just relax a little bit. Right? Remember, you are in control of that. Now, by controlling your words and your attitude and behavior and actions, you can control your day. Now, when you control your day, you are setting priorities and you are moving ahead the way that you choose to move ahead. When you put all of that together and you string together 2 days, 3 days, you string together 7 days, you got yourself a week that you controlled. Do that a couple more times, you control a month, And at that point, you are actively shaping your own future. You're shaping your future in a positive way and in the way based on your desires, not the world. As we bring this plane in for landing, I want to thank each of you all for joining us today and making the time to be here. Again, keyword, making the time, making the decision to be here. The notes and the related websites that I use to prep for this and a replay of this call will be on the splash page that we set up for the Sharper Saw landing page, and that'll be all set up later this week. Let's meet up here again next week for a more interactive version. So I want you to think about some of the good books that are on your nightstand, or the books that you want to be on your nightstand. Some podcasts and websites that you're using to help get through this involuntary personal development time. How's that, right? So again, thank you all so very much for joining us today. Keep your distance and be safe. Thanks so much. Have a great day, gang.